Okay, good morning to all those dialing in from the US. Good afternoon to everybody in Europe. Hopefully, we have a few diehards in Asia too. Good evening to you. Delighted to have another Ship Angel live webinar here today. Wanted to do something a little bit more out there, talk a little bit about how fast things are moving. And we have a saying in Ship Angel, we like to show and not tell. So we are going to talk and show you today how you can go live on Ship Angel in less than an hour, in a matter of minutes. And this is really not about Ship Angel as such. We are all very passionate about making the life of the BCO easier. That's why we get up every morning. That's why we do what we do. And we're living in a crazy world right now with AI, and we can see that the market is moving very, very quickly. Software has been built at a pace that we haven't ever seen before, and it's really only going to accelerate. And one of the areas as an industry in supply chain software that we must get better is we must squash implementations. They cannot be measured in years. They cannot even be measured in quarters. I mean, to be honest, if they need to be measured in months, they need to be a global rollout altogether. But in the world of AI, in the world of forward deployed engineers, we should be measuring implementations in days and weeks. And we're very passionate about that at Ship Angel. Hopefully, most of you know me, but my name is Graham Parker. I'm CEO and co-founder here at Ship Angel. I've been involved in global supply chain and software my entire career of 26 years. My last company was Containers, and we built a lot of major platforms like Spot. Maersk Line, Siva, Daxer, Toll, O&E, Zim, lots of others. Every project we ever did went live on time in 12 weeks and 6 days, which was a record back then. But right now, I think that would be considered actually slow. And that's the pace that we're moving at. In Ship Angel, we're building a suite of products for BCOs to go from PO or sales order to product on shelf in a modular, lightning fast go live AI native system. And that's it. No more slides, no more deck. Everything that you see from here is going to be real. I'm going to bring you through the journey from the lens of a shipper that has just said, okay, I want to try Ship Angel. Maybe I've had some bad experiences with longer implementation times. I certainly do not have days and weeks to be implementing something. I want to get using something quickly. I want to see the value. And that's what we, again, think about from the most asked question I get on AI is, where do I start? The answer generically is you start somewhere where you can get access to a tool quickly so you can measure the results. And if they're not compounding, you move on to the next project. It's really that simple. And we're living in a time where it's never been easier to build software, which means it's going to move faster and it's going to move really, really fast compared to what we're used to from a historic perspective. Okay, let's dive right in. So I am now on a URL that is called app.shipangel/sign up. So this is not, anything except a live environment. And it's super easy to create an account. So we start with putting in a name. So I'm going to put in my own name here. I'm going to put in an email address. I'm going to say Uber Green is the name of my company. And I'm going to pick a password. And I am going to create an account. Now it asks me if I could check my email and get a verification code on a separate device here. I have the verification code. Ship Angel is SOC 2 compliant. We're enterprise grade, so we're fast, but we want to be very respectful to large customers too. So we put in our company here, and then we can pick who our top carrier is. And right from here, we can upload a rate file. So if I look here, I have a rate file, and I can complete setup in what should have been less than 60 seconds to go live. And we'll go a lot deeper on what if I'm a Fortune 1000 company and I've got lots of users. There's a few different answers to that, and we'll get to that in a second. But we are now in a live environment. We are now in the Uber Green team workspace. So we are now in here, and it's already set up. You can see here a lot of the stuff we're going to go through. We're going to look at the rates. We're going to look at spot rate procurement. We're going to look at bookings. We're going to look at invoice audit. We are also going to look at users as well. So here in users, I can do a lot. I can control a lot. I can control currencies. I can control where I land when I log in, how I think about default market rates, the approval process for rates, and all different areas that I would expect as a user. Here I am a admin user. So what that means is we can bulk upload your users. So maybe when we're in your office with forward deployed engineers setting you up, we set you up like this, and then we take a list of users and we upload them. And it's very easy to look at setting up the different roles. Out of the box, you'll see here that we have a few different roles. But what we can also do is we can create granular roles. So let's say we have the system rolled out. We start everything in ShipAngel with the rate. We've got to get the rate right in a post-COVID world. It is so complicated versus pre-COVID. We have 4 to 5x the amount of surcharges. We have more vendors. Every vendor has their own format, PDF, Word, Excel, whatever the case may be. And the amount of surcharges is just absolutely incredible. So trying to manage those rates is incredibly difficult. So maybe when I'm rolling out the rate system portion of this, I have maybe something called Sales Team Florida as an example. And I can decide granularly what that type of user sees. So here I can say, show them the lowest price only show them certain contracts. They are not allowed to see benchmarking. They don't need to worry about dashboards. They don't need to see truck rates. They don't need to see error rates. They don't have to worry about invoices. I do not want to turn on Maddie AI for this person. I want them to create bookings, but I don't want to allow them to submit shipping instructions. The list goes on. So when I sign up as an admin user, very often we can start with a group of users and we can roll out globally, or we can upload a bulk list of users, or we're actually building an agent that can do that as well. So from a settings perspective, this is enterprise grade and incredibly robust out of the box. So when we set up the account, one of the things you probably noticed was the ability to be able to go in and see all of the rates here. So this is the rate that I uploaded earlier. We'll see rates from places like Long Beach to Yokohama, Houston to Rotterdam. We'll see a lot of different data in here. And as we all know, these are incredibly complex documents. Even when we look at how they're formatted here, we can see all of the cells are not quite formatted correctly. We have text, we have a comment box, we have different tabs with lots of different headers. We have lots of different abbreviations. There's a world with certain vendors where you might need to go back out or go to a URL to get BAF data. So it is incredibly complex to try and get to a stage where these rate sheets can be transformed using AI. And literally 5 minutes ago, that's exactly what I did. I uploaded a rate file. So when I go in here, I will be able to see that rate file has been uploaded by the AI. So now when I go to search rates, I don't even need to filter. I can just do a blank search here, which will bring me all of the different rates. So here I can see my rate from Charleston to Hamburg. I can see what the freight rate is. As you can see, it's even read all of the different surcharges here. It'll have brought in any demurrage or detention data. It'll build up a history of rates. So now, instead of going through all those different rate sheets, instead of going through my email, instead of saying, hey, what are my rates from Long Beach to Yokohama, and going out to certain vendors or checking my email or checking Excel sheets or updating Excel sheets, a user can just log into ShipAngel and they can say, you can also be specific. So you could say, show me my rates from Charleston, and it'll show you all of your rates from Charleston to Hamburg. So you can be very specific, or you can be also generic. So this in itself is a 100x better experience than customers are used to. Even in the big legacy systems, they will give you a spreadsheet template and say, take your PDFs and your Word documents and your Excels and put them into that standard. In ShipAngel, our customers are living in this rate sheet tab, and they can see every time a rate sheet hits the AI, it doesn't matter what format it's read and it's in this system literally in a matter of time that's measured in minutes, no more days and often not even hours. So now that alone takes away a big pain, because a lot of our customers are spending 5, 10, maybe even 15 hours a week going through rate sheets, going through different emails and trying to check. In a ShipAngel world, this now becomes my single source of truth for all of my shipping rates. So now I can see all of my rates in one place. And what that means is I can now start to overlay a lot of different data on top of that. So now I've got all my rates in one place. I don't need to go through spreadsheets anymore. I don't need to send 10 emails. I can log in here. I can see all of my data. I can plug in CO2 data, market history. We'll measure transit times. What that means is now that you've got that core single source of truth, you can overlay data to help you make the best decision for every single shipment. And by the end of this demo, I will have shown you all of the different parts of the journey, from where you want to procure a rate, manage a rate, execute a shipment, and even invoice your audit, all on a system that goes live in less than an hour. So I've got an example here of signing up. I uploaded a rate sheet. It was pushed through the AI in a brand new account in a matter of minutes. You can see all the data matches perfectly. I've got 20 different ways I can filter rates over here. So, some of the interesting ways I can filter is, for example, you might say I need the price to be within a certain range for the shipment. Or I have this thing called origin proximity. So this could be Charleston is congested. Find me rates that are within 200 kilometers, and the factory can deliver to Charleston as well as Baltimore or Norfolk. What I can also do is I can also procure spot rates. So the other thing we see in a post-COVID world is contract versus spot changing. A lot of the averages on Transpac used to be maybe 90-10. Now we see 60-40, 70-30. So spot rates are becoming more and more important. And what that means is, I have 4, 5, 6, 7 vendors I need to get a spot rate from. Do I have to send 7 emails? Do I have to go through 7 replies, 7-second replies, go through each email? No, I can just pick a mode of transport here. I can put in some information. Again, this is all configurable, but I can put in the reason for this, what type of rate I'm looking for, what type of shipment is it. It could be a door-to-door shipment, or it could be port-to-port or door-to-port, whatever the case may be. I would put in, Incoterms if I want to. I would put in what type of commodity. Again, this isn't relevant for every customer. What type of equipment? Again, not relevant for every customer. I can add in more information if I want to. I can put in a valid date, which I would need to for the vendor to give me the price. I can add in more data, like what's the cargo ready date. There's a specific delivery time needed on this. Again, this is optional. And now I can go to 3 vendors. This could just as easily be 12 vendors. So I can very easily send that. I have the concept in a lot of Ship Angel customers of an approver. So not everybody in the organization can send a spot rate. I can create one, but maybe an approver needs to approve it before it goes to all of those customers. So now I can go and I can submit that to the vendors. So now I have a spot rate. It's from Shanghai to London here. Again, imagine a world where you're sending this out to 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 vendors. I did that in less than 60 seconds. And we now have the majority of the top 10 shipping lines, I think 7, possibly 8, on this platform element of the platform. And we have most of the top 20 freight forwarders on it too. All of the top 3 freight forwarders are on this as an example. So they're all getting the notification. They will update it. I'll show you what that looks like shortly. But I can also take a feed. Let's say this was a busier feed and I had 10, 20 different rates. I can export that into another system. I can upload a file if I want to do that. So I can very, very easily go and get that different data from multiple spot vendors in one place. And right now it's at the waiting approval stage, so it can't be edited. So we will come back to that in a second. And you can see here, again, in a busier environment, I might have 20 of these. I might have 250 of these. I can see all of them. I can see ones that I have in draft. I can see ones that are waiting approval. I can see, again, the one that I have open. So now I can go in here and I can see within minutes. Of course, these great companies are that quick. And now I can see exactly, okay, our friends in Siva have come back with a price of 2,800. We've got some labels here. We'll show you who's the newest bidder, what's the best price here, what are the fastest options here, what's the transit time, how long is it valid. Siva have added that I've got 10 days detention and 4 days demurrage here. So there may be another note, and I can see all of that data here. So now I've got another price in. Maersk have come in on this one a little bit higher, similar on the transit time side. So now I can go and say, okay, I am going to award this one. And it gives me a very clear view here. You're about to award Siva. Once this is awarded, it'll become active in your rate system. So now the rest of the vendors can see that I have pushed this into the rate system. You'll see here it has now been awarded, and now I've got rates being fed into the rate management system. So now I can procure rates. I can manage my rates. I'm going to show you booking cargo in a second, but I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Let's skip the part where we book the cargo for a minute, and we just think about the end of the shipment. So post the booking, we see a lot of invoices with a challenge. So we use the same technology that we use to read the rate sheets to read invoices. So here, I'm going to take 3 brand new Maersk invoices, and I'm going to, again, just like we did on rates, we're going to use the AI. The same AI that reads the rate sheets is able to read the invoices in the exact same way. So here you'll see live all of these invoices. You'll be able to see all of the different stages. So right now, the AI is looking at all of the fields on the invoices. A funny point, when we started reading rate sheets in 2023, we were Anthropic's very first global supply chain partner, and we were using AI to read rate sheets before absolutely anybody. And it turns out that reading rate sheets is probably the most difficult part of parsing documents in the global supply chain. And when we were using the same technology to be able to read through the different rate sheets, we did the same, and we were able to use that same AI to read invoices. So here you can see this one is moving. This one has moved to parsing stage. This one is moving through the review stage. And you'll see in a few minutes here again that these invoices will move through the process and will go from being reviewed by the AI. It'll compare what the rate was. So we'll go and take the rate. Again, this is another good reason why we think getting this rate sheet element is very, very important. And then we will be able to go and review the invoice and be able to see how it shows against the actual rate, and it understands the concept too of gate in, gate out, what the rate was on the day. You can see this bottom invoice has already progressed to matching the rate stage. So again, the AI is working here in the background and being able to show you any sort of issues. So this one has now moved to discrepancies. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to show you, this is our account Banana Cola, which I'm going to jump into in a second for the booking side. But this just shows again, this is the invoice. This is what the rate has on the left side, and on the right side, this has the different elements of what the invoice has. So you can see here we have a discrepancy here. We were expecting 2468, we got 2392. So again, we can have a very nice finish to the system. We start at the very start with procuring, managing. We'll get to execution in a second, but then the absolute end part of the system is being able to audit the invoice. So you've got that clean end-to-end experience from an AI native operating system for a BCO, right from procuring a rate to auditing the invoice and everything in between on one AI native system. So it's now audited all three invoices in a matter of probably 180 seconds. It can obviously do that at scale. Same thing again, if I go into this other one, you will see here differently. We have what looks like a pretty significant overcharge on the emergency bunker surcharge, $428. We also have a difference on peak season here. We were expecting 204, we got 612 to give an overall total of a potential overcharge of $769. So now, again, we have shown you looking at the rates, procuring the rates, auditing the invoice. You will notice when we are in the rate sheet, there is this book button. And for the purposes of the booking, I am going to move to another account. I'm going to show you what it looks like in an account that already has some bookings in. One of the things that we would do before I move to that is I'm now going to move to a design to show you what a new booking setup agent is going to be able to do. So the agent will be able to bring you, when you go and book that, if I press the book button here, if I press this book button, the idea is it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. And because this is my first time doing a booking through the ShipAngel platform with CMA, we need to get an LOA signed with a lot of these carriers. So we've got some text here. We click to sign it. We finish it. It goes off, and we can then move to the booking stage. Again, this is on the basis of setting it up for the first time. Now I'm in a different account. I am in an account called Banana Cola. Quick, funny story on Banana Cola. If you go to banana-cola.com, they are the premium global source for global banana and cola products. In fact, they are not. They are a figment of our imagination. They are our favorite demo account that we do to show you a busier account. So if I go to quotations on Banana Cola, you will see a whole busier section than we saw on that account that was set up earlier. If I go to users in Banana Cola, you'll see a whole bunch of users that have been set up here in that account. So for the purposes of showing you the booking process, I've moved to Banana Cola. So now I'm going to look at Shanghai to New York, similarly to what we saw earlier. We've got a lot of different data in here. We're measuring benchmarking. We're showing you transit times. We'll show you a history of the rate over time. We'll even show you detention and demurrage data. But when you get to the stage of saying, okay, I would like to go ahead and I would like to book the cargo, then we go into a full booking flow. And we take full advantage of knowing that we are your system of record, your single source of truth globally for all of your shipping rates. And what that means is the booking process is much simpler. We know a lot of information. We know who you want to book with. We know the from and to. We know the contract number. So the booking process is much, much faster than the traditional one. So there's a configurable section, which is business unit. Where do I want to ship from and to? I need a semblance of when is the cargo going to be ready? How many containers do I want to ship? I can pick a specific ship, or I can go on the first available ship. And then I can push the send request. If you're one of the DCSA API powered carriers, like HMM and others, it will go through the carrier API. If it's the API is not live, it'll go route towards EDI. We have our famous AI agent on the right side here, Maddie. Maddie knows who I am as a user, knows which company I'm with, and importantly knows where I'm shipping from and to. So Maddie's given me here, Shanghai to New York, a lot of information on congestion at New York, dense fog, holidays, any sort of information that can be relevant to a booking on that trade lane. And now I can go ahead and I can push that book button. If it's an API powered booking, we're normally seeing booking confirmations in as little as 15 minutes, under an hour. If it's EDI, obviously that can take longer. But we can then follow the shipment through the entire life cycle of a shipment here, and we can see all of the different statuses. So if I go up here to bookings, again, in this account, it's quite mature, so I can see a lot of different bookings. If I fast forward to a booking that is at, for example, the SI stage, I can see here, I can submit the SI. The verified copy of the bill of lading will be available after that. If I go even further here in this test account and I go to shipping instruction accepted, we'll notice the milestone stages, and now we'll be able to go into the digital version or a field format version of the bill of lading. There are areas I can change up to a certain cutoff, and I can give a final description of the goods, or I can update the description here and change what the description is, whatever the case may be, and I can make that change and submit that bill of lading. So I can go right through the life cycle of the booking. I can get a series of dashboards here that I can see all of my bookings. I can get a semblance of any delayed bookings, and I can set the parameters of how I think about a delayed bookings. I can get bookings by vendor. I can get rates by vendor. I can even do a deep dive here on, let's say, very important trade lanes to me. If I am doing a lot from, let's say, Shanghai to, let's say, New York, and I have an important set of vendor meetings coming up, then I can bring that in here. And what the system will do is, again, this is Banana Cola account. So BC stands for Banana Cola Actuals. I can bring them in here. I can bring benchmarking in. I can bring these fictitious vendors that we have in this test account in here, and I can get this rich view of how my vendors have been performing right over the course of the year. So I can get a lot of different data as well, right out of the box, and we have about a dozen different dashboards that we can configure in here as well. We can also go quite deep into the MQCs. We can get a quick overview. Maddie will have a view and will factor in the MQCs when she's giving you advice on who to book with. If you turn on Maddie at that stage, here we can see, for example, we're 15% through our MSC contract. And if I click here, I can actually go into much more granular detail. So I can see New York to Shanghai is taking a lot of that MQC data. So again, we can go very deep here, and we can look at MQC by port pair allocation, port pair by week. Maddie can take that in at whole and can book for weeks and quarters at a time. So I can get that granular view. So that's an overview of what the journey looks like from a perspective of going on the journey from an AI native operating system, signing up in a matter of minutes, procuring rates, managing rates, booking shipments, getting tracking of the cargo, documents within the cargo, enterprise grade rules, and right through to the end of the shipment, right through to auditing the invoice. And again, the important thing I think here is that, you know, as an industry, we are moving, like all other industries now, at the speed of light with AI, and we think the gold standard is measuring implementations much faster. And again, you know, one before we get to any questions here, one thing I do want to make clear is, a lot of times we'll have forward deployed engineers, and on day 1 or day 3, they can go through that process, and we can get an admin user, or we can get 5 admin users in. We can add as many users in bulk later. So if somebody says, oh, we're 100 or 200 person user, that wouldn't work for us. It absolutely would. The name of the game is, again, being able to show value very, very quickly, being able to get users live very, very quickly. In an AI-centric world where you want to test tools, our biggest product today is still rates, because people have such a terrible experience trying to decipher them, update them, keep Excel sheets updated. You know, within a very short space of time, as you can see, we can get you live, you can see the value. And that's what you want as a shipper, I think, being able to manage your supply chain software stack today. In an AI-centric world, if you're testing tools, you want to be able to see the value very, very quickly. And the cornerstone, or the first step of that, is going live very, very quickly. So I'll take a couple of questions. If anybody else has more questions, now is a good time to add them into the Q&A section on the Zoom app. I think it might be bottom right corner. So first question is, what's actually slowing down a traditional TMS implementation? Where does the time really go? Great question. I think there's probably many answers to that. One answer to that is that a lot of the systems that are live today were built in the 1990s, and global trade is very different to what trade was in the 1990s. And when engineers were building those systems, they were building for what was before them then. You know, the Trans-Pacific trade was, you know, white goods from Japan, textiles from Hong Kong, and not a lot else. Today, there's thousands of permutations. So long implementations allow the software to be configured. It's not built out of the box to go live. That is one thing. The second thing is, you know, in elements of the software industry as a whole, there is a kind of a consultancy and implementation world where a lot of folks want to get to a stage where you know, implementations is big business, and it's another revenue generator. But in the AI world, it is going to move very fast, and you know, people are going to be able to get to a stage where, like I've shown you, you should be live in hours or days. There really is not, not a reason. Again, in a global rollout, of course, this could be 6, 9, 12 months before you go live globally. But again, that doesn't mean that a team isn't live week one, month one, expanding, getting the value, removing the risk of failure in a project. And I think that's important. If you bought a legacy system today and it was going to start implementing on June 30th and be live in 2 years, what does that mean? Where's the world going to be in 2 years from now? Most likely dramatically different to where we are today with the pace we've seen on AI. Next question is, if you are on a legacy TMS already, what does migration to ShipAngel actually look like? Great question. We've done a lot of these over the last year or so. It actually goes back to our core AI competency again, being Anthropic's first global supply chain partner as early as 2023. When we were working with them, we ended up building our own 10-pillar architecture to be able to read rate sheets. That gave us an incredible capability in ShipAngel to be able to take disparate, semi-structured or even unstructured large data sets and be able to migrate them into newer systems. So with our forward deployed engineer model, we think a lot about what does success look like for the customer? What do we need to do? What does day one go live look like? How do we migrate? And when does that happen? Most likely in a couple of different stages. What does month 2, month 6, year 1 of being a ShipAngel customer actually look like? Once the 60 minutes are up, what happens next? Great question. You, the customer, are driving this. So in the pre-sales process, kind of post-signing, we will have a session with you. We will describe our go-live process. We will match it to you, what you want to see here. So we will not, if it doesn't suit you to go live in an hour or a day and it needs to be a week because it's a wider team or whatever the case may be, you will drive. We will, every single supply chain is different. So we will look and see where are the hair and fire problems. How can the suite of products solve that? Which ones need to go live first? And what does success look like? It could be eliminating the rate sheets, getting booking times down from days to hours, getting transit times down by 20%, removing delays, reducing delays. So our forward deployed engineers in our go live project, there's a couple of goals. One of them is the key team are using the software in the first week, live day one, using it the first week. And then we will look at a plan, a 1 week plan, a 1 month plan, and then a quarterly plan for the next couple of quarters. What does success look like? What are the goals? We're all on the same page. We know exactly any sort of configuration that needs to happen. Another question, ShipAngel spot quote tool looks cool. Have you seen ROI with your current customer base on the savings that are going to the spot market and awarding more competitive rates? Great question. We've seen this with multiple customers recently. We've one of our customers, a Fortune 100 brand. We've seen significant 5-figure touching 6-figure savings in their first couple of months of using the system. Again, spot rates is something that's very, very time consuming. It's very hard to know, are you awarding it to the right person? Managing it through the inbox process is a very laborious process. And then another question that we've just been asked, will ShipAngel include other modes of transport? You've just reminded me, whoever you are, thank you very much, because when I was in Banana Cola, one thing I did want to show you in a more mature account is that just doesn't need to be FCL. I can do the exact same with LCL rates here. I can see all of my different LCL rates here. I can put in a weight and volume. I can do the exact same with air freight. So I can search all of my air freight rates. I can see departure dates, transit time. I can see my surcharge history. I can see my rate history. I can say, hey, this air freight shipment is 1,887 kilos. It'll give me the exact price per dollar with each vendor. I can do the exact same in trucking. I can get my FTL rates. I can even get my LTL rates. So great question. Thank you for reminding me. One of the things I've messed up here is not showing that we do all modes. LTL, FTL, rolling out parcel currently. So it is a fully multimodal product. Great. I'll give it another minute just if there's any last minute thoughts or questions. Again, this is really about ShipAngel wanting to be part of positively pushing the industry forward here. We're very passionate about making our customers' lives easier. And we think that in the world of AI, we're going to see a lot more software live. We got to get better with implementation. So we're setting the bar here super high, going live in less than an hour. I was able to show you there a ShipAngel account that didn't exist. We signed up, we provisioned it, we uploaded a rate sheet. You saw how complicated the rate sheet was. It extracted it 100% accurately. We were able to spot procure rates. We were able to invite users. We were able to audit invoices, make bookings, submit shipping instructions, view bills of lading, track my cargo, get exceptions. We could go deep into documents, enterprise grade roles. The idea is the life cycle of a shipment from a purchase order for an importer, sales order from an exporter, right to when the goods go on shelf in a modular way. So, you don't need all of the modules. You can bring in other modules into the system. But I think the goal of today was to hone in on, quality is kind of a given here. It is important in the AI world. All software, fast software doesn't mean great software. We're very passionate on always producing great products, but speed is really important, especially when it relates to implementation and being able to go live quickly, being able to get to a stage where you can get access to all of that data very, very quickly. And also from an AI perspective, if you want to be able to test different tools, then I would say you want to be able to, measure what does ROI look like? How fast can I see it? And to get something, the goal with AI is double down on what works and get rid of what doesn't work. And the faster you get it live, the faster you can double down on that ROI. Thank you for that question, Serena. Thank you for reminding me and being able to show you the other modes of transport there real quick. Moritz, hello to you as well. Again, if anybody has any questions after the webinar, we'll be able to share a recording. And we're also available you can connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a DM, send an email, graham@shipangel.com, go to shipangel.com. We have an AI agent that will help you, humans that will back them up. It's a very exciting time in the industry, and we're very excited for what's coming. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.